Welcome to We Digress with Joy and Jess. Join hosts and longtime friends Joy Simpson and Jess Perry as they tackle the stuff of life the only way they know how, with honesty, faith, and humor. This is We Digress with Joy and Jess.
Hey everyone, welcome to We Digress with Joy and Jess. I'm Jess.
That would make me joy.
It would. Yeah.
I'm fighting through a migraine, guys, so if I look like I'm asleep, I'm not. I'm awake. It's just my head hurts.
God love her. I was like, we don't have to do this today. We can record on time. She's like, no, I'll tell you if it's too much. I'm like, girl, you're a trooper. Because headache stuff is no joke.
It's not crazy because I went to bed with, I didn't really have a headache, but I've had some really bad nausea the last few days. Actually, the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if it's fibro. I don't know if it's my IBS. I don't know which issue is causing the nausea, but it's been really bad. And I got so nauseous last night that I could barely sit up and I just had to go lay down. I was like dizzy and I had a headache, but it wasn't a migraine. And I slept pretty well, but I woke up this morning with a migraine. So it took me a second to get my head off the pillow. Cause I don't know if you guys have ever had a migraine.
The ones you wake up with
and
are the
you
worst.
Wake up with one and you wake up with a migraine. It's like the worst thing ever. Like mornings are already hard because I've told you guys before, cause I have fibromyalgia. Some mornings are hard. But having a migraine in the morning and you wake up from one and you're trying to lift your head, it is literally the worst thing ever.
Yeah, no, I feel you. God love you.
Man. Anyway, but I'm alive, guys. I promise.
Yeah, it's, migraines are no joke. I hate those. And it's like the light sensitivity and like, I don't know. I sometimes will get nauseous, but more than often I have light sensitivity. Not so much.
Yeah, I do the light sensitivity too.
Yeah.
The nausea is also a part of it. That's why I was like, I don't know which medical issue is causing the nausea. But yeah, you can get, and then there's something else. There's somebody told me they have something else with their migraines, and I don't have those. I do get light sensitivity, and it was something else. But I watched, it was a TikTok, and this lady was like, I go put on my migraine hat, and I was like, a migraine hat, and she takes a nap and it helps. And I was like, I've never even heard of migraine hat, but okay. It was like this hat. It looked like a beanie almost, but like thicker. And she put it on and it covers her face and something. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Because I mean, migraine people, I feel like people who have migraines and have them really bad. Like I have a couple friends that have chronic migraines. And I have more hormonal migraines or I'll have them on Mondays, after a busy weekend, after Sunday all day at church, I'll have them on Monday morning.
Yeah.
But I have a couple friends, actually our friend April has terrible migraines and it's April, a lot of our friends that have really bad migraines, they have all these tips and tricks and little things that they do to try to get ahead of it. And
coffee and aspirin sometimes, although I do have migraine medication because I am considered having chronic migraines. I take Ubrelvy. If you've ever seen the Serena Williams commercial, she takes Ubrelvy, so I take Ubrelvy. Not because Serena Williams does, but that's what was prescribed. It works better than sumatriptan, which is what I used to take. If I'm out of that, because they only give you 9 pills at a time. Right. So if I'm having a bad time and I run out, I'll do 2 Tylenol and a Coca-Cola or 2 Tylenol and a coffee, because the caffeine helps. I have been in church in sunglasses because right now I have my ring light kind of twisted so it's not directly in my face because it's just a little too much light. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to see me though.
So all that to say, drop your best migraine remedies in the comments.
Yeah, drop all your migraine remedies. I'm down.
We will test them all out when next we have migraines. But,
for sure.
Oh my gosh. I know. We had, so when we first moved here, we had an air mattress because our stuff was in limbo for 8 weeks, 6 weeks. We moved here. Our stuff got picked up in Brea in the middle of October, and it didn't get to our new apartment until the week, 2 days before Thanksgiving. No. After Thanksgiving. And so we slept on an air mattress, and it was a nice air mattress, but it was killing our backs. And so we went out and bought this mattress topper, and it was this really thick, I don't know, 4 or 5 inch thick mattress topper with like a cooling gel kind of memory foam thing. And we put it on top of that. Well, we had it on when our actual mattress came, and our mattress is like a pillow top mattress. It's a decent mattress and it's old. Well, as old as we've been married, but 7 years, but like, you know, whatever. So, but I was waking up in the morning with bad headaches, bad migraines because my head would hurt, and then my back was killing me, and it was just too soft. You know, sometimes it's just like
pain
too
and a
soft.
migraine together is not fun.
So, for those of you watching, I apologize for the fact that you can see beside me this like weird thing. This is the mattress topper. We finally took it off our mattress, but you see how thick it is. Like it's a thick.
It is thick.
And it's,
you know what? I saw that and I didn't even, I thought it was just the comforter on the bed.
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. You guys would have thought I got a new comforter. But it's super comfortable. Like, highly recommend 10 out of 10. I just can't have it on. And also, our mattress is like crazy high. Like, the dog jumped off it a few times and terrified us. Like, we tried to not let him jump off, but he would like do it again. And I'm like, Lucky, you're going to break a leg. Please stop. But we took it off, and the last 2 nights I have woken up with back pain. So that's good. I think that's
a good thing. At least you kind of figured out the problem instead of continuing in pain. Because I think that's something people do.
Yeah.
Like, they realize something's bothering them, but they don't deal with it. So they just deal with the pain. And I mean, I've been there. I feel like I've had so many things. Like, there was a season where I just didn't want to go back to the doctor because I didn't want him to tell me something else was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I was just like, I'm going to just deal with it. But we deal with it, and we're keeping ourselves from the relief, and we're keeping ourselves from the freedom of the situation. So it's a good thing that you're like, let's figure out what this thing is. Let's figure out why I'm having this pain like this. Aha, that's what it is. Let's remove it and see if that's the issue. And you did, and now you feel better. Like,
well, I feel
like that's just a lesson for all of us.
Right. Well, I think the thing that like sealed it for me was, so my dad finally had his back surgery. Not his back surgery. He had his cervical fusion. They fused his C4 through C7, I think. So they have like a little metal plate in there, and they fused all of the cervical vertebra together up there. But we've been waiting for the surgery for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Yeah. We moved out here to Georgia so that he could have it, and that was in November of last year. And then it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And then finally it was like, okay, next week.
Yeah. So I've been waiting with Jessica for real for the last 2 years for this surgery. Like, right. And not just because, like, I mean, I am, I love Jay. He's like another dad. Like, I've been around them for 20 years. But more so, like, Jessica and I have been trying to, like, plan certain things, and we couldn't plan because we didn't know when Dad's surgery was going to be. So like last week, she goes,
he just still have to have one more.
Surgery is going to be next week.
Right. Right. So we drove up to Atlanta because his surgeon is here in Savannah on, like, every other Tuesday or Friday. I don't know. He's here, like, every other week or something like that. But his office is predominantly in Atlanta, so which is like 4 hours away.
Does he ever do any surgeries in Savannah, or do he just meets with patients?
I think he just meets with patients there because their surgery center is in Atlanta. Is in Atlanta. Yeah, so in the Sandy Springs area, for anybody who's familiar with Atlanta, so it's just kind of. I think it's northeast of like the main city center of Atlanta, but it's like. It's kind of like LA, how everything's sprawly. So, like, you'll have one area of Atlanta, and then there's, like, technically it's a different city, but it's basically like LA. Yeah. It's kind of that same thing. Kind of like how Inglewood is basically LA, except it's Inglewood, it's separate, kind of thing.
How was the drive for his, like, after the surgery? Because in my mind, I'm thinking he had, like, a procedure for his back, and I'm like, how did that feel driving home?
So, I was so shocked. Surgery was, we got into town on Wednesday. We drove in, and he drove up because it was the last time he was going to be able to drive for what he thought was a couple of weeks. Spoiler alert, he has already started driving, and it's been a week since his surgery. Yeah.
It's only been a week.
Yeah. So he drove us up, and then early, we had to be there like dark 30, like It was, well, not really. It was like 7 o'clock, but that feels
super that's early for me.
Right. So we had to be there. So I was up at 5. And so he has his surgery. It was surgery started at 12, I want to say. No, 12:30. They took him back. And no, I have my timeline. Anyways, basically, by the time he was done with surgery, he was done at 12:30. That's what it was. He was done at 12:30. It took 2.5 hours for the surgery, and then they wouldn't let me. I stayed there at the surgery center. It wasn't even at a hospital. It was at an outpatient surgery center, a mile from the hospital, over Northside Hospital. But it was Ortho Sport and Spine was where he went. And they took great care of him. So shout out to Ortho Sport and Spine and Dr. Flood. You are a rock star. He did such a great job.
Wow.
Great care team over there and stuff. They were really good. And so he has the surgery. And my dad's always a little loopy when he comes out of anesthesia. We have a running joke. My dad's had several procedures over the years. He had AFib that he had to have zapped in. He's had 2 carpal tunnel surgeries. He's had, he's already had shoulder surgery for this injury. He'll have to have a total, by the time it's all done, there will be 3 separate surgeries for this one injury that he had. So he's super loopy, and he always fixates on one thing, and it's usually his those little compression socks. You know those socks you get when you're in the hospital, and they have little grippy things on the bottom?
Yes.
For whatever reason, my dad is obsessed with those socks. And so,
what?
Especially when he's coming out of anesthesia, he's just super loop. And the thing is with my dad, he comes out of it really well. You think we're having entire conversations. He's lucid. He's making coherent statements for the most part. And then you'll realize that he has no memory of those statements because he keeps asking the same questions over and over and over, and you have to keep answering those questions. And so when he first got out of the surgery, I got to see him probably about an hour after surgery when he had he was pretty-ish lucid, and he was sitting up. They had him sitting up, and they had him in his neck brace, and he was uncomfortable. There was a pulling of the muscles. Now, here's the thing. He had an anterior cervical fusion. So it actually came in, I guess technically it was on this side. They came in on this side, right here. He had an incision right there, and they go in through there, and they pull apart the muscles, and then they do their little fusion, and then they come back out. And so there was a chance that he was going to have damage to his vocal cords, because that's a possibility, as they go through there. And it's right near some major arteries, so it's a decently risky surgery. And because he was having 4 vertebrae fused, it was kind of intense. And so morning of the surgery, we get there and we're doing the pre-op stuff, and the nurse is so then you're going to go back to the hotel for another 24 hours and you can leave Saturday. And we went, whoa, that is brand new information, because we thought we were going home on Friday.
Right, because you told me you were going home on Friday.
Right. Well, so then Thursday morning we find out, no, we're not going home till Saturday, which my mom always told me, pack extra underwear. And this is why you never know when you're going to have to stay an extra day. So thanks, Mom, for the pack extra underwear.
My mom taught me the same thing. Right? So that's thanks to our parents.
Right. I was set.
Clothes.
No problem. Had to rewear a shirt, but that's nothing. It's fine. So, so anyways, by 4:30, he was starting to be fairly lucid and having sort of kind of remembering conversations. Not really, but he couldn't have any solid foods because he had a lot of inflammation. So, which we knew he wasn't going to be able to have solid foods for up to a week, maybe. We weren't, depending on how he was doing. And so, he'd pre-gamed with, a blender. He bought a blender and stuff so he could do shakes and stuff. And so I went to Starbucks. He wanted a green tea frap. So there was a Starbucks right next to the surgery center. So I go to Starbucks, get us some green tea fraps. And by the time I get back, he had changed into his regular clothes. He was out of his hospital gown, and he was into, pajamas.
Really?
Yeah, and he was getting up and walking to the bathroom. The nurses were helping him. They'd pulled out, he'd had to have a Foley and stuff for surgery. And they'd pulled all that. He was walking around. He was back. His pain levels were super good. I mean, I think he took 1 Tylenol with extras,
codeine.
I think it was an Percocet. They gave him Percocet.
Okay.
But like, that was post-surgery, and he barely took any of it because he's a rock star and has a really high pain tolerance. It doesn't faze him. The Mayhans have very high pain tolerance. But yeah,
that's kind of a good thing.
We ended up getting discharged at 6:30 the next morning. They had to discharge him 23 hours is how they have to do it, I guess, for hospital regulations or something. So 23 hours, they discharge him. We discharged to this hotel, and they set all this up. Their clinic person sets up all the
they set up the hotel and everything?
The hotel and everything. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was great. We were staying at
talk about full service.
It wasn't a Hilton proper. It was one of their Hampton Inn. It was a Hampton Inn. And literally like a mile up the road. And it was perfect because where this surgery center was right off the freeway. You go to the next street up, the next light up from the surgery center, and that's the street where the hotel was, another mile up. But right on that corner was a Whole Foods, which was super handy because they had juices and fruits and all kinds of stuff that we could stop and pick up on the way to the hotel. And then if you went another mile past that was the CVS where we got his prescriptions, and there was a Trader Joe's across the street. Since I don't have a Trader Joe's in Savannah, I went to Trader Joe's the day we left. And I got chocolate babka because
got some stuff.
So good. But anyways, it was super great. So we ended up getting discharged back to the hotel on Friday, and then they brought in a home health nurse to stay with us in the hotel for 12 hours. And she was great. I mean, it was for observation. She, in hindsight, probably was not needed, but she was lovely. Shout out to Patricia, who was just very, very sweet and a wonderful Christian woman. And we had some great conversations, and she was
nice,
so kind. And I had mentioned, I was talking about, I don't know how we got on the topic, but I was talking about this new supplement that I was taking that has really made a huge difference for me. And I had mentioned because we had fertility problems and all this kind of stuff. And she stopped me in the conversation and said, we're just going to pray right now. And she prayed over me. She prayed that I would have twins or maybe triplets. And I was like, I like that you pray big, lady. And from your mouth to God's ears, like, let's do this.
Well, remember that vision you told me about? And it was 2 kids?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I'm like, Lord, I will gladly, whatever you have in store, like, you know, we went to visit my nephew, our new nephew, a couple weeks ago in LA, and
he's so cute.
He's so cute. But like, I came home and I was just like, I am so thrilled that we have a nephew, and I am so thankful that his mom and dad get to enjoy and experience him. And I'm like, please remember us too, Lord. Like, we would love that too. I want them to have cousins to grow up with, you know, on the Perry side. Like, that would be cool. So, yeah, I mean, if y'all want to keep praying for me, I'll take it.
I mean, definitely keep praying. I mean, and we've said this, and I've said this on the show to Jessica, and we've said this to Jessica in our personal conversations. Sometimes what man says is overridden by what God can do. And you never know. And I get it because, and I kept checking on Jess while she was here because I knew, you know, not that she was sad or not that it was heartbroken because her brother-in-law had a child. It's a complicated situation. But I know just personally how hard it can be being around married couples and married couples with children and things like that. And so I was checking on her, not because I thought she was just going to fall apart or that she was bitter about it. I was checking on her because I know her heart. Yeah. And I know when you're longing for something and when you want something and it's a true, genuine desire and you're around it, it's a wonderful thing and it's a hard thing all at the same time. It's a wonderful thing because you're like, God, remember me too. Like, this is a beautiful experience, but it's hard. It's also like, wow, God, but remember me too. Like, it's the same prayer in a different tone. Like, I totally get it, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I knew you were doing that, and I really appreciated it because I don't think I mentioned it, but like, I really appreciated that you were taking time to like really, really, check in on me and stuff. So it's been interesting.
You would do the same, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that has been the thing that has surprised me and encouraged me. I think a lot of times, like, the hardest part about going through things like being single or being infertile or whatever difficulty we go through, is that sometimes you can feel very unseen when you are sort of in an other position. Like when you are a single person in a room full of married people or coupled up people, like, yeah, it's hard. When you are,
it's a little different.
It is, and it's like
it's a little different.
You know, the church doesn't know what to do with us, like it, you know, all that kind of stuff. I remember that
for sure, because then you have singles ministries, but our church doesn't even have one of those anymore.
Well, and single ministries,
then singles ministries are. Yeah. I mean, we could do a whole episode about singles ministry because, honey, it's not always what it's cracked up to be, and it's not always a positive experience for the single. No. Because I even saw like this one church did like a singles mixer, but it was only singles from their ministry. But why not invite other churches to mix it up? Or then I saw like on TikTok, I saw on TikTok, it wasn't a church, but this girl there was some kind of big mixer, singles mixer that was supposed to happen in, I don't know what state it was, but it was a big thing. The people bought tickets, but the lady had posted a video and she was talking about, she wasn't complaining. She was like, showed up to the singles mixer, but it's predominantly women. And she panned the room, it was outdoors. She panned, and for real, it was like 85%, 90% women and maybe 10. So I saw a guy who had duetted her video, and he was like kind of getting on the men, like, you all complain about women not, you know, being approachable or not being whatever, but there was a whole event that was designed for you to approach them and you didn't show up. And he said, and I realize it's because you want control of how the approaching happens. You want to approach women when they're not wanting to be approached, when they're at brunch with their friends. You want to approach them when they're at the club and you don't see that there's a guy with them. So you think that's the right time because, and he's like, I've even heard a guy say, well, I don't see a guy with you. She's like, he's at home. I'm out with my girls. Oh, you're lying. He's like, you want to approach women when it's comfortable or when it's convenient or you can feel like you're the dog. There was a whole event for you to go meet women.
Right.
And you didn't go.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, why does singles ministry in the church, why does it only exist to try to pair people up? Like, why can't we have conversations about singles ministry?
Conversations.
Like how to be a healthy, happy single person, and how to
deal with temptation as a single person.
Yeah.
How to be all these things. Like I've seen some ministries do that, but the majority of singles ministries, you know, and though I've gotten on myself recently because I have been doing the Me Too Lord prayer. And the reality is I don't really go anywhere to meet anybody because if I'm not at work or I'm not recording or working on stuff, I don't go in person service every time. And if I go in person in my church, there's no men.
Right.
And if I'm out at restaurants, I went and took myself out to lunch last Saturday by myself. There was nobody there but people on dates and with their families. There was genuinely, you know, not that I was there to meet anyone, but one of my coworkers was like, oh, you could have probably, you know, you should have looked open. I was sitting in a chill area. I had my Netflix going, eating my because I went to North Italia. I had pizza and all that, and I had some really good zucchini. It was potato chips, but it was zucchini, and they were very thinly sliced. Ooh. And fried with salt on it. Oh, it was really good. Better than potato chips to me. It was really delicious. And I go to this restaurant a lot, and I had never even ordered those before. They're called Zucca chips. Mm. They're very delicious. And so if you've never been to North Italia, first of all, very good.
Their pizzas.
Italian food. It is it's very a North Italian restaurant. It is not heavily, because you have to realize, you know, different places have different regions. So it's not heavily garlicked. It's more of I've learned through them that North Italy is more of the fresh, seasonal vegetables, things like that. They're, There's not a lot of like spicy, but their pig pizza is my favorite. Their short rib, they have a short rib pasta. I always get it with the red sauce, but you can get it with a Parmesan cream sauce as well. And then I add Calabrian chili paste with it because it's good. Their garlic, they don't do garlic bread. They have a grilled bread with oil and some of the best balsamic vinegar you will ever want to eat in your life. It is so delicious.
Italian food, so good.
Why, right? It's a different spin on going to like a different type of Italian restaurant that's more garlicky or more whatever, but it's so good. Fresh food. My mom loves their meatballs. They have a meatballs with polenta. That is really good. So I went, just to chill out. And immediately the first thing I told someone I went to lunch by myself other than Jessica was, so did you see any guys? And I was like, actually, no, it was mainly families and like people on dates. Like,
right. It's a pretty hefty date spot. Like,
and because I have my own personal issues with online dating. So I don't put myself out there that way. And so the reality is I'm like, I don't even know how to meet somebody because I don't. We've been in the house for 2 years basically. And now I'm back out, but if I'm not working, I'm doing, other stuff. We're trying to run errands and, my mom and she had a girls' weekend last weekend. So I was with my grandmother. I snuck out to basically take care of have my own lunch date by myself, which was wonderful. Like I really enjoyed it, but
yeah,
I can't Me Too without actively looking either. Not Me Too in that way. Right. I said that wrong. I can't Me Too Lord. Like, cause I scroll, TikTok, Instagram, it's all these couples or how they met or somebody slid into their DMs and I wasn't going to talk to him, but he ended up being this wonderful person. We've been married for 17 years with 3 beautiful children.
Right.
Okay. Like,
well, honestly, that was the exact same scenario. Like I could have written the scenario like with meeting John. That was, I literally had said like, nope, I'm done.
I remember. Yeah.
I'm done. and I, that's the funny thing. Like in my brain, because of like, I think our generation, like we were there for the rise of internet dating. Like we lived in a time before internet dating. And so to me, there's still this like, oh, we met online stigma in my brain a little bit almost.
But it really isn't.
It isn't
it's
now,
just that online is different than when even eHarmony is different from when you met
exactly.
John. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like it's not the same. And then you have some of these other apps, like I don't know, what's the new one? Lecrae, the Christian rapper, he's been talking about one. I think it's called Upward or Up, or that's a Christian one. And then I've seen a lot of people like, oh yeah, I met my husband or my boyfriend on Bumble, or you don't meet your future on Tinder, honestly. But although I've seen some people say he was just supposed to be like what they call the side dudes now sneaky links or whatever. He was just supposed to be a sneaky link, and now we've been together 10 years and 2 babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to me, Tinder is not like the way to go.
Tinder's like a hit it quit.
So now it's just to a point. Yeah. So now at this point, it's like what apps are actually good, and then being a believer, being someone who's a female in ministry, it takes it up a different notch because you can't. Though we are very chill and we have balance, and we talked about the fact that we we'll drink or whatever. I can't just meet somebody off of anywhere and be whatever. I am not in the place of saying I'll train him at this point because I can't. I'm not going to change somebody if he's not already if he's already not a Christian. I can't.
No,
like I've been there, done that. It don't work. I can't change someone. Someone has to be ready for me, and I need to be ready for them, vice versa. I'm not just saying that they need to be ready and I don't have any work to do, because I do. But it's a difference now. I've gotten to a place where I know the random like drummer is not going to work, especially when he's 3 years younger than me and really not interested in a relationship. I've learned to like really listen to the men who are like, oh, I want to hang out. Well, hang out it's not purposed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because generally when they say they just want to hang out, it's not hanging out.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know if you can still hear me, but I can't hear you. It's because my earpiece fell out. But now it's back in. So, I said that to say there's a lot of variables to meeting someone and dating. I don't have an issue with somebody hitting me up in my DMs, but the people I get in my DMs are, I don't know.
There is not a desire for holiness and pursuing
yeah,
God.
I mean, or even like,
no.
Yeah. And I have a thing like lately, random like military dudes, but they're not like, they say they're Christians, and it's like, not.
You will know them by their fruit. And if you can't tell what their fruit is towards Jesus, like if there's not enough evidence to convict them on their social media, I don't know. I feel like that's a giant red flag.
And then, or like if your page is blocked, but you're trying to talk to me, and like, no. Like, so for instance, a couple weeks ago, this person had followed me on my regular Instagram, not my beauty flawed one. And at some point I'm feeling like I need to just merge them because I'm learning people want to know more about all of your life, not just your ministry parts. They want to like see your whole like situation. So anyway, on my personal page, neither one of my pages are private just because I feel like if you want people to follow you, they need to kind of see what you're about.
Right.
So, on Instagram, this guy like followed me and was going through, you know how they go through like pictures. He was liking pictures from like 2017, and I was like, okay. And so I'm like, you scroll deep. So, I posted a picture, I think on Easter, with my niece Bianca from church, little Bianca, and shout out to little BB. And it's a picture of she and I didn't even pay attention to the fact that he had commented on it. Like 3 weeks or so later, someone else commented and was like, oh my gosh, your niece is so cute. And so when I noticed that comment, I saw his comment. I said, oh, sorry, I'm so late, because it was like 4 weeks ago. I was like, I'm so sorry, but thank you. I remembered looking at him. He tried to send me an inbox message. Somehow my inbox automatically, like, I guess if I'm not following the person, it doesn't go to my general inbox. Right. It goes to an inbox request. So I don't always pay attention to that request tab, that there's a person, like there's something there. And I had seen it like a few months ago, but I was just like, it was just like, hey, you're gorgeous. How you doing? And I was like, And so, because it's a setup, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I told the person, thank you, that Bianca, he was like, oh, you and your niece look very nice. And I was like, oh, thanks. So then he comes back, instead of saying you're welcome, it was you're welcome. I tried to inbox you. You should inbox me back. I was like, no. And you can't see his page. You don't know. I mean, his heading says like God-fearing man, U.S. Army. That was it. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And maybe because I have trust issues, like I'm aware that I have trust issues.
Well, people who say, oh, I have trust issues, they're earned. You earned your trust issues because people like, yeah. Like,
so it's not that I don't want to date, and I look at these opportunities, I'm like, am I missing opportunities because I'm being too picky about stuff? And then I'm like, no, because you're also the person who went against your own mind, dated somebody, lied to you the entire relationship, got engaged to the person, supposedly, lied to you about where you're going to live, and you almost missed out on all your dreams because you were going to spend the rest of your life taking care of this person, even though you have physical issues too, and they don't take care of you. Nah, I don't know.
No. Like, I always used to have that same thing. Like, I was like, am I too picky? Am I too picky? And
Right. I feel like I am.
Well, okay. But the thing that like sealed it for me. So I put a finger down if you went to a Christian high school, and in your Christian high school, your senior year,
what's Christian college?
Your senior year of high school, your Bible pastor had everybody write down a list of all the characteristics that they wanted in a mate and what was important to them. And on yours, you wrote down 4 things, but one of your friends wrote down a college ruled paper front and back, every line filled. Like that was the thing.
I have a good one. Put a finger down if a really cool pastor asks you out on a date. You go on a date, have a really amazing date. God shows you some stuff. God shows your mom some stuff that she usually doesn't tell you when she sees something about a relationship. But she's like, there's some stuff. Talk to another person of mine. Thought that it was going to work out. Find out a month later that he married a prominent pastor's daughter. And he is now pastoring one of the largest churches in New Orleans because he made the different choice. He made a political move versus going with,
the things that we God saves us from, like,
right.
And I think that's the hard part. Like, logically, I understand that sometimes God's no is his generosity to us. Like, when he says no about something, It is him saying, I know this hurts, but trust me, if I said yes, it would be worse. And like, that's the thing
that's true.
That's hard because there are so many no's that I look back on in my life and I'm like, thank you for that no. Like, I appreciate
it's like
no.
Understanding the no, but then at the end of the day, we don't have to understand it. Yeah. Like, God's no is God's no, and his no is for a reason. Like, when I tell my students no, and they'll be like, why? I used to hate this phrase. It's literally because I said so. Like, It's not going to be good for you. And I don't feel like I need to explain why I'm telling you no when I'm telling you no for a reason.
Right. I mean, it's like, we sit there and...
Same thing with God. Yeah. Like, I don't have to explain myself. Just no.
Yeah. And I think the hard part comes when we want something that's like not bad. It's not bad to want to be married. It's not bad to want to be a parent. Right. Like, it's not bad to want those things. Those are good, God-honoring choices that we're making with our lives that we want. And so when God is like saying no in a season or not yet or hold on or just being quiet and we're like, what the heck, dude? Like, what the deal? And, I think that's the hard part for us. Like, just trying to sit with that no, understanding that, like, it,
and it's not a forever no. It's a no, not right now. It's a no, not yet. It's a no. And then there's some situations where it's a hard no.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay.
And there's sometimes, I think there's a reason Jesus tells us to pray, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Like, heaven is a place where God's will is always done. Earth is not. Like, we live in a place where God's will is not always done. And so, like, we are victims of sin, capital S sin, in this world where sometimes life doesn't turn out the way that it should. Like, the church acting stupid means that there's fewer godly men, which means that there's less available godly men for godly women to hitch their wagon to, and to have marriage and relationship with. Like, pickings are slim. Like, it's true.
That's the other thing. And I'm like, I remember telling Jessica a few months ago, I'm like, I'm going to go to Georgia to visit her. We have some ministry stuff, but we'll also have some fun time as well. Planning to be there about a week. And I was like, maybe I'll meet somebody while I'm there and then I'll end up having to move to Georgia. Like, kind of like a, well, I'm kidding, not kidding, but it's like the point of me saying that was moving out of the spaces that we're comfortable in.
Right.
Can open up doors for other things.
Right.
And it could be that. I'm not saying if I move to Georgia, I'm going to immediately get married and find a dude and do all
it's possible.
I'm not saying that.
There's some.
But there is a possibility because at the end of the day, especially in the church circuit of LA, I pretty much know almost everybody. And,
right.
And part of that is my fault because I made some not so great choices in my choices of dating.
Yeah.
And then there have been seasons where I haven't dated anybody at all. Like the last 3 years, I have not been in a relationship with anyone since 2018. It's 2022.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been on a date since 2018.
I don't know. You went on a pretty awesome date with yourself last weekend.
I did. Okay. With someone else. I haven't. I've been on a few dates with myself, which I actually enjoy. Such dates. I think they're great.
No one's going to treat you better than to date with yourself.
Right. Because you learn a lot about like your own self. Like there was at one point I was kind of like, just chill and relax. I used to do it more often. I've just been too busy. Yeah. Like but it's nice to go do that. And then I think also I don't do it as often as I used to because I don't trust people right now because there's so much kidnapping and trafficking and somebody see you by yourself and things like that. So I kind of like had been leery about going out by myself for a while, but I was glad that I did. Like I used to do it more often. I'm glad I did it. I enjoyed it. Then I came back home and made sure she was good and grandma was good. And then I spent the rest of the day just kind of like Netflix and chill. Like I had work to do. I had beauty flaw stuff to do. I had some stuff that I needed to do for our conference. I just kind of got lazy and was like, I'm not doing nothing today.
There are days.
And I liked it because the next day was going to be very busy. Right. Like, you know, I had to get my grandmother ready for church, get her ready for the person I was picking her up. Then I had to get myself ready for church, meet my mom. Then we had to change clothes, go meet my uncle and the kids and all that, which we hadn't seen them. I don't think I've seen the kids since my book signing.
That's been a minute.
Yeah, I saw Elijah in January. No, December, January. And I hadn't seen Zoe because she had worked a lot. So I hadn't seen everybody together since Christmas, but I saw the three. I can't call them little anymore, but we used to call them the littles. Ava is 16 now, Micah is 13 now, and Jackson is now 11. And Jackson's 11 taller than I am. And I'm fine with it. Yeah. Jackson is either my height or an inch taller. Micah is much taller than I am. And then, of course, Zoe's the shortest out of all of them, but she's still taller than me.
Well, Rebecca got...
Yeah, my aunt is tall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
she's taller than my uncle, and he's not short.
No, he's not. So, well, it was funny. We were laughing because my sister-in-law is fairly petite, and Joey, my brother-in-law, is pretty tall. And so, but when they were born, they were the same length. And you know how they always try to figure out like how big is the baby going to be based on like your parents' length and weight and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And little man is growing like a weed. But we were joking. We're like, he's already half your size. Like but he's just.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, he's not quite. Hilarious. Actually, the one that's really that way is my little sister, Nikki. Her son, Lane.
Well, Nikki's tiny.
Nikki is very petite. I think she's like 5 foot. She's very small, but she, but good things come in small packages. So that's what we would say. But Lane is, first off,
students are taller than
this little boy is tall. He's already like half her size, genuinely, like not even facetiously. And he is a little baseball star. They got him a little t-ball, thing, and he's only 2. Will be 2. I don't think he's quite 2.
Wow.
It's his birthday. Yeah.
That's like, I looked at
just 2.
I love Kavya Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's daughter because she's just hilarious. The kid is a whole mood. But she's only 3'4", and she's like one of the tallest toddlers I've ever seen in my life.
This little boy.
But look at her pants.
Right. Well, yeah. But like this little boy, Nick posted a video, and he regular size t-ball, and he straight up hit it like with force and. Like it was thrown. Like he's good.
He has some nice little speed.
Yeah,
huh?
he's good.
That might be something that's really for real. Like get him into now.
Yeah,
you never know.
I was like, well, now you know how that's your retirement plan. You can have your kid.
Right. I mean, Micah's on like an all-star baseball team right now.
So
he's in like a league, and he's fantastic. Mm-hmm. He's a pitcher. He's really good. Like
I love it.
Who knew?
Right?
Jackson don't like people or things, so he don't do nothing.
Same.
He likes golf now. Oh. He is into golf. But it's a sport he don't have to talk to nobody. So
I respect it.
He just kind of, I was with this past Wednesday, I was with Andrea and her kids and my pastor and wife and my mom. We spent some time at Dave & Buster's for Andrew's birthday. First of all, I can't believe he's 13. Yeah. I was literally there when he was born. Insane. He is my oldest nephew. And he always says, he's like, you're my favorite auntie. I'm like, you're my favorite kid, you know? And he's gotten into some trouble, and he's not been living up to who I know him to be. And it's been very disappointing for all of us. And originally Mom was just upset and was like, he's not having a birthday at all this year. And I was like, it's 13. It was supposed to be big. So she decided last minute, I'm going to do something. I'm going to surprise him, but it's only going to be us. Like, I'm not inviting his friends. We're not, you know. So he was grateful. I'll tell you the difference between a kid that is grateful and understood where he was wrong versus a kid who was like, I should have had. He blew out his little birthday candle and was like, I'm so thankful that you allowed me to have today. And for my birthday, I want to do better for myself because I don't want to put myself in this situation anymore.
See? Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right.
The heart is there.
Meanwhile, his sister is making everything about her because she's the main character.
She's a three-nager.
Of life. A four-nager.
Oh, that's right. She's 4.
She is. At one point, he looks at her and goes, can I have my moment? Can I have my day? She's like, okay. And then she keeps going back. She was not down with the fact that the day was not about her, though she was excited it was her brother's birthday. So, of course, I'm auntie and godmom for her. And I'm like, okay, I got her little Dave and Buster's card. We running around. Where's my card? Where is my, first of all, can you say, where is it, please? Or thank you? Or may I have? And she's like, oh, like she is.
Gosh.
She's a lot. And then she has these long legs. I don't know where they came from because both of her parents are not tall. So I'm like, she has very long legs for a 4-year-old. And she like comes up to like right above my hip. And I'm like, you're 4. Like, what? But yeah, it was a nice day. I needed that day off. A little upset that the Beauty Fly video I posted, I thought I was going to post about that day, and the message that I had in my mind for that day did not work out because I am not technically as good as I think I am with technical things and technology
and there were some gremlins
and editing and whatnot. But yeah, it was some other things working against me. But overall, the day was good, and it was a reality of, even I kind of feel bad for not to like taking off of work that day and all of that because we've been short staffed all summer. But the reality is, 1, I wasn't supposed to work summer. I worked because you guys were short staffed and needed me. 2, I can't just keep doing stuff for other people when my own stuff is lagging, including the fact that I needed to spend that day with him. He needed me to be there and it was important. And so I was there, you know? And so I said that to say, how often do we feel guilty about doing the things we want to do because we feel like we need to be doing something else, or our jobs need us, or our this needs us? And like, in your family and your friends need you as much as them. They need to have that laughter with you. They need to play around. They need to play giant fruit ninja sometimes. They need to go to brunch. Right. They need to have a mimosa date. They need, you know, all these things that need to happen. So overall, I was glad I took the day off. And I forgot that I had taken Tuesday off next week. And I was like, oh, I'll tell them I can work on Tuesday. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I took the day off, got to provide whatever financially I lack because of it or whatever. And I'm going to take that day because I wasn't even supposed to be working this summer.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny you say that because today we're recording this on July 1st and it's Friday.
Yes. And
John just kind of made this executive decision that, you know, when he has a Monday holiday, he gets quote unquote unlimited PTO at his job. It's not quite unlimited, but unlimited. And he just said, you know, I'm going to take, if there's a Monday holiday, I'm going to take Friday off. And so he had kind of made that decision because his boss, you know, my husband is A+. Like, he gets to work early, he stays late, he works hard. Like, he's, you know, boots on the ground. Let's go. Let's get stuff done. And,
right.
And so his boss came into his office one evening and was like, look, you you are here before anybody else in the department. You're here, late every day. He goes, make sure you take your PTO. Make sure you go home and spend time with your family. Like, that's important. That's really good. And, John's old boss, was old school, wouldn't take a lunch, wouldn't take time off, worked 52 weeks a year, and relationships struggled as a result. Well, he had some difficulty there and stuff like that. So it's like, it's nice for him to have a work environment where he has the space to do that. And there's a space for that. And, for him, I think, too, because he does work so hard and because he does a lot, it helps him prevent burnout. Like, having that time, having something to look forward to, knowing that he's going to have that time out, like knowing that you have Tuesday off and, like, you don't have to go back into work after today for 4 days is like, right? There's something that lightens your heart about that. And it's like, okay, we were not
even if you don't do anything.
Yeah, we were not meant for this hustle and grind life. Like, we were meant to rest. God tells us to take Sabbaths to rest, like, for a reason. So he's looking forward to it. In fact, I was so excited. Usually if we like go and plan a trip or do something, like, I plan a trip for his birthday, or we go out somewhere, it's like, I feel kind of like I sort of make it happen. And so he comes home the other night, he's like, I found a place for us to go for our anniversary. And I was like, okay, where are we going? Because we like watching YouTubers, like travel YouTubers, and dreaming of buying our converted Sprinter van. Well, not a Sprinter van, because I hate Mercedes. Too high maintenance. The maintenance is too high. Don't even get me started.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's going to be a ProMaster.
Right. Mercedes, the breakdown on Mercedes are insane.
Dodge ProMaster extended cab 170 wheelbase. I'm just saying. I already might have that out. Anyway, he found this adorable cabin up in northern Georgia, about 5 hours away. It's right on the Tennessee border. And so we booked it for the week after, because there's only one available, the week after our anniversary, to go. Partly because it's our anniversary. We'll have been married 7 years, but then also I turned 40 this year. So it's like, it's kind of a, a big deal, dual thing. But like, I was so excited. He like did that, but he's like wanting to build those kinds of breaks in for us, just because we recognize that we go a lot, we do a lot of stuff. So I fully support your taking Tuesday off and staying off. Like,
yeah, I mean, it hit me the other day. Like, once I know I had the week off when I had COVID, but I was trying to recover, so it wasn't like I was off. And ever since then, I've been like going. Whether it's work stuff, whether it's trying to outline the kids' book, whether it's trying like church stuff, like I've been just going. And I was like, it didn't hit me until Wednesday, like, sit down, like, it's okay, it really is okay. And it was funny, one of my coworkers, because I was telling Jessica we have different staff in the summer, because summer camp for our organization is always generally held at our school, and they have other sites too, but because we have a lot of space on the yard, and we also have a lot of classrooms, so we always have it. And so we have staff from other camps or other schools or whatever for the summer. And the director from another school has been like the assistant boss this year, although it's really not. I've been the other boss because everybody still comes to me for everything, even when my boss isn't there. So I'm like, what is your point? But anyway, that's another story for another day. So I said all of that to say, yesterday we were sitting in the classroom because I didn't teach any classes yesterday morning. I was just doing admin stuff with him. And he was like, he was telling me how he started working for Star, and, how he's like, he doesn't know how much longer. And I was like, I understand. Like, I was not planning to go into the summer, and I definitely wasn't planning to go into the next school year, but until I get some other stuff going, I probably will, unless, another door opens before school starts. And so he was like, well, what is it that you would want to do? Like, he's like, you want to teach at another school, or you want to like be done with like teaching? I said, no, I want to be done with teaching, like at least children. Right. I mean, I will probably always work with kids in some capacity at some point. Like, we may have a young adult conference at some point. Who knows? Where we teach teen girls. Who knows? I don't know. I'm sure children will always be a part of my life. But working in this particular school with this particular organization, and not that I don't love my school, not that I don't like my organization. It's just the kids now and my style of teaching and things like that don't always
right.
anymore. It's a different type of kid.
Right.
So I was explaining to him, he was like, well, what would you want to do? And I was like, I would focus on building our nonprofit with my business partner and doing conferences all over the U.S. and abroad. I would sing more. I would work on my second book. I would tour with the book I have. I would do all the things that I really want to do that aren't making me money yet.
Right.
And he said, oh, like, you actually want to do, I was like, yeah, it's important to have goals and it's important to have dreams. And it's also important to make sure. And, I said, and to pray about whether those things are supposed to be together and go for it. I am about taking risk and I am about pursuing purpose. And he was like, oh, wow. And it was interesting because it's an assumption that I want to teach forever. And I don't. I actually got into working with Star because I could start teaching in the afternoon and not do mornings because I was teaching preschool before. And it was hard because of mornings. And I started working with Star because it gave me the leeway to do the other things that I was doing, to sing and to be able, I can take time off to tour and do the things I needed to do. But now it's becoming more work, not because I don't want work. Please don't misunderstand that it's not that I don't want to work, people. Please understand that. It is becoming more than what it used to be. And partially because there is a large exodus of staff. When we came back from COVID, we've been short-staffed since August. So I don't know how they thought summer was going to be fully packed. And we're like, oh, you can take the summer off. And then a week later, we're really going to need you this summer. So I went from recovering from COVID, doing the concert, and going to work the next day.
Yeah.
The following, 2 days later, because Sunday was the next day. You know what I'm saying? It was just I didn't completely get myself all the way. And then I've had really bad asthma attacks this last week. So it's been a rough week. This week I've had 3 asthma attacks all at night. It's been rough. And then getting up to go deal with kids who are disrespectful, don't listen, don't want to. I don't have not that I don't have the patience, and I'm not asking God for patience.
We're not asking you for patience.
We are not asking for patience. I don't have maybe the energy or the passion for it that I used to. My passion really is in the other things that I want to do now, or the other things that God has allowed me to start. And I'm like, I need to make this a thing. Whatever the case, however I'm wording it, not the right way, but you get what I'm saying.
Well, it's the thing. It's
yes, I still do great productions with the kids. Exactly. I mean, yes, my productions are great with the kids and all that. But that last production, that
was tough.
Wanted a shot of tequila every day, and that is not good because then that's borderline alcoholic. Right. I did not have a shot of tequila every day, especially for people from my church who are listening or watching. It wasn't like that. I said it made me want to.
Exactly. Right.
That thud was my phone falling to the ground. If you heard it, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I mean, this last school year, just gotta tell you, I was
it's tough,
drained and struggling. It was tough, and then the kids' behavior on top of it is and I had to look at myself. I'm like, I am the person that tells people to pursue what God has given them and use the gifts in their hands. I need to be able to do it, but I also have to pay bills. So it's I'm teaching you all the things that you should do and the things that you should allow God to do in your life. But also don't make the decision to do it before you have something lined up. I'm not a big fan unless God is quit your job. That's the only. He hasn't told me to just go ahead and quit without having a backup yet. There are times in there that he has done that, and I have obeyed, and he has opened doors. And it was a rough season, and I didn't know if something else was going to pop up, and it has. But that hasn't happened yet. But I am definitely praying about my next move, because I feel like at some point I have to devote more time to the things that we do so that we can be more successful at it, if that makes sense.
Well, we are in the exact same boat. You know, I'm in a job that I love my place where I work, and I love my coworkers. I'm not crazy necessarily about the actual tasks of the job. I'm good at them. Like it's not a thing. It's just not, you know, it's admin stuff and admin stuff. You know, and it's, but I'm happy to do it, because for me, it's like, okay, I can still be working for the kingdom and still be enabling that sort of thing. It checks off a lot of the boxes, and I'm so thankful for my job. And they've been really generous with me with time off to take my dad to Atlanta, and like time off to, you know, and the ability to work remotely. Like I am thrilled, kind of like you. It's like, you know, it's that same spot. Like I'm grateful for what we have, but like, what does 2.0 look like? What does that space happen? And I was telling John probably just a couple weeks ago, you know, the last season that we've had has been really rough on me, rougher than I really thought it was. I'm not always very good at recognizing when I am anxious or not in a good headspace or struggling, because I'm kind of a pick yourself up by the bootstraps and build a bridge and get over it kind of person. Like, and so I don't always recognize when I'm having difficulty, but then one day I'll wake up and I'll realize, for those of you that can see, like all of my nails are chewed off and my cuticles are torn, and like I'm anxious, and I've been, you know, and I started this new medication, this new supplement a few weeks ago, or actually a couple months now. And it made a huge change in me. And I realized that I actually had some issues, like thyroid issues going on. But it made such a huge, between that and therapy, made such a huge change in me. For the first time in a year, 8 months or a year, I felt like myself again. After taking this, like I felt like I could experience some things. Like there's a lot that I'm still working through, because it's not a cure-all. But one of the things I told John was like, I feel like I have the space now and the ability to dream a little about what the future holds, and to be able to step into that, because everything was overwhelming. Like the thought of doing it, like I just didn't have any bandwidth. There was nothing there for me. I couldn't give anymore. I felt like I had given everything, and I was so spent. There was nothing left to give. And so it's like between a great therapist and you know, some good magnesium and selenium supplements, like I am starting to feel better, you know, and it's up and down still. Like there's still a lot going on, and we've still got stuff with the house. And if anything is going to test my salvation, it's building this stupid house. Let me tell you, that makes me want to, it makes me, I struggle. I have to bring it before the Lord, because I genuinely, like I was telling my friend Ashley this morning, like it takes me to unhealthy mental places where like this has been a lot. I want to go nuclear on this house builder. All that aside, I don't recommend anyone ever enter into a contract with Dreamfinders Homes. Just FYI. But that's based on my personal recommendation. And I'm going to say it, and I don't even care.
No, because if something's not working and somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it's causing frustration, because this has been a frustration, and you realize the root of the issue is the builder, I'd rather you tell people.
Well, the problem is
for them to enter into contracts with the person that's not doing well.
The contract states that they can cancel it if I give them negative online reviews. So,
does it?
I'm just saying. Just my personal opinion. If I had it to do over again, I wouldn't. Even though I love the house and I love the lot and I love the location, I don't know that I would do it again, because I want to poke my eyes out.
Did you have to use them because of the location? Huh? Did you have to use them because of the location and the situation? Yeah.
We tried initially to buy in the neighborhood that we wanted to buy in. We tried to buy a lot, and we were going to build our own house. And because of the timing of things, we still owned our house in California, and we weren't ready to come out here yet. John hadn't... He'd either taken the bar or I think he'd taken the bar, but
I don't think he had found a job yet.
Yeah.
Here.
And so we couldn't qualify for the financing for the lot and the construction loan. Like, it wasn't a thing because we still owned the house, and it wasn't like we had extra income to be able to do this extra mortgage essentially for the land. And so in order to be in the same neighborhood where we really wanted to be, because we really like the neighborhood, we really like the community, the only thing else that was available to us was in our price range were these like semi-custom. They're not really custom homes. It's a neighborhood, but you choose the house, you choose the lot, and then you choose like your fixtures and stuff. So it's custom-ish. Right. And so we love our lot. We love the house. We love the layout. We love the finishes that we've chosen. We did all of that back in May of 21. And like they just did electrical 2 weeks ago, and nothing's been done on the house since. Like, they just don't touch it. It'll sit for weeks without anything being done. And they blame a later.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, and I'm not alone. I'm on a group in Facebook with almost 1,000 other people who hate this builder.
That's bad. Bad.
When I tell you that this process has tested my salvation, it's not so much my salvation. Like, I think God's it's just the fruits of my salvation. It makes me crazy. All that to say,
you're like, I'm trying to keep my witness.
That's what it is. It's testing my witness because I'm gonna throw hands. But
you just got to tell them, try Jesus, don't try me, because I throw hands. That's a song by Toby Nagoe, and
it's gonna be my new anthem.
I'm not mad at it. I love it. I'll send you the clip. Try Jesus, don't try me, because I throw hands. And
I'm so ready. But
I will send you the clip as soon as we finish recording, because it is the song. He's not playing. He's very serious. Like.
What's the one?
So that is going. New phrase: try Jesus, don't try me.
The other one I really like is the one where they redo. Do you want to build a snowman? Do you want to catch these hands? That one kills me.
I've heard that one. It's very funny.
Anyways, don't worry, everyone. I love Jesus.
I want to tell the kids, try Jesus, don't try me all the time, but
start seeing it.
I cannot throw hands. So, because there are times where I really want to show them for real who the boss is. Like the other day, two of my kids were about to get into a fight. They walking up on each other. They about my hand is one person, the microphone the other one. I said, if you don't back up from each other before I get between you and I hit you both, and I'm not supposed to say that, but it was ridiculous because they were in front of the little kindergartners and they about to have this fight, and I'm like, over what? He pushed me. I did not push him, Miss Joy. I accidentally knocked it, bumped into him. So y'all about to have a full out fight. And so what did the teachers pass me and said, Miss Joy said, try Jesus, don't try me.
That is my new favorite.
Like that cane was about to go. And I think it was the day I had my knee injection.
So you were
I was like not in the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a knee injection this week, you guys, and it's settled a little bit. Then I tweaked it yesterday, and so it was bothering me when I got home. It's one of those situations. So I got a cortisone injection because they're really trying to keep me from having surgery. And I appreciate it because once they remove cartilage from your knee, then eventually I would have to have a knee replacement because there's nothing protecting the bone. He's like, basically, everything looks good. He's like, you can honestly live with a tear. We just got to get your knee strong enough, but we got to get some of this pain down and inflammation so that we can get you strong enough. And so they did the injection. And if you've never had a cortisone injection, it doesn't hurt going in the needle part. The needle part doesn't hurt. It is the pressure of the injection and fluid going into your knee. That is like, it felt like I was my mom came with me. She's never come with me to get one because I've had 3. And she was just looking like, oh my God, okay, breathe. Just breathe.
That hurts.
And then my crazy self went to work, but I didn't know I was getting an injection that day when I scheduled the appointment with ortho. Yeah. It was one of those like So we'll see in 6 months because injections are supposed to last 6 months. So we're supposed to, he told me not to do any strengthening exercises this week. So start next week to let the cortisone like get in there. So on Monday, when I got the cortisone injection and then I went to work after, not only was it painful, but my knee, underneath my knee and my knee were swollen. I was struggling to walk. Like I was basically sliding my foot. And then for them to be like, I'm about to fight. I was like, no, you're not. Cause I don't have it in me to, at this point, I'm going to just let you, if y'all going to try it. Cause if you try to come over me, cause I'm literally standing in the middle of them. I said, if you try to fight him with me standing in between you, I'm going to just let him hit you. And just so you know, parents out there are some students, this is a teacher secret I'm not supposed to share. There are times where we may accidentally look away for a minute or two, especially for the kid who may need a little womp womp from another student because they doing something and another student finally got tired of their stuff. We have maybe on occasion, maybe not, turned away for 30 seconds and came back around like, okay, no more hitting. Every teacher has done it. I promise you. Even my grandmother did it back in the day. Because there's just some kids.
Some kids need a little street justice.
You can at me on this. I don't really care. If you don't work with kids, you have no idea.
Well, you know. Yeah.
I don't promote fighting. I don't promote beating.
Well, and the thing is, at no point is a kid ever going to be unsafe.
Once you've been bullied by somebody and you get tired and you're finally tired and you hit your bully, I'm not mad at it.
Well, and there's a difference between a kid being genuinely unsafe and having that little bit of correction that gets applied. Like, no teacher I know, unless there's something crazy, is going to let your kid be unsafe. But if there's a little bit of natural consequence to their behavior, you know.
I can't touch him.
Right. I mean, well, and truly, your hands are tied in a lot of instances. You can't.
My hands
you can't
tied.
get in the middle of stuff.
Most instances. Yeah. And I wasn't supposed to get between them that day, but it was in front of the kindergartners, and I was not going to let them
see that kind of behavior.
Start going to blows over that. Especially, I have kindergartners that were in kindergarten last year, and then I have some kids who are just as their first experience in any kind of a school setting. So the parents have them in summer camp so they can get used to being at school. Right. And I have some 4 and 5-year-olds no, that's not going down. We're not going to. You're both 4th and 5th graders? No. Yeah. You're not about to. No. And one of them, he thinks he's big and bad in general. And I've had to deal with him all school year. He got kicked out of another program. And with being kicked out of STAR at a different school, got him expelled from the school in general because he still needed aftercare. And so they brought him to our school. Because my boss knew his dad, and he's gotten better. He has his moments, but when he first came, I was like, "Whew, try Jesus, don't try me," because he was one of those kids. He was one of the ones where I was like, "Jessica, I want to get in the car and leave and not come back." He was one of the reasons. He was definitely one of the reasons. There was one of the teachers last week in Digress, and this is summer camp. It's supposed to be fun. They're not learning actual lessons. We're doing arts and crafts. We're doing fun music games. We're doing theater games. We're doing sports. Right. We're doing all this stuff. One of my teachers was like, "I'm going to make it through the day, but I almost just drove out of here." And I had to calm her down because the kids were just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I was tired of talking to them. Myself, so I know they weren't listening to her, and she was so upset, and she was so hurt. And she's not she's not like a soft teacher. She's like me, you know what I'm saying? They still, and so for her to be done, because she's like, I can take a lot, but today is not the day. It's just not. So talk to your kids out there, people, because I don't know if you all know what all they do in school, because it's special.
And may we encourage you to encourage your children to act right, discipline your kids,
that would be lovely.
It's don't not be a disservice.
In denial of their behavior. Yes, your kid could do that. Right. The thing you don't think your kid could do, they can. They can, and they do. You don't think your kid cusses? Oh, they do. You think you banned TikTok and stuff from your kids? They know how to. Your kids have Finstas, fake Insta pages. They also have fake TikToks that you don't know about under different names. I'm telling you, check on your kids.
Mm-hmm. There is.
You don't think your kids listen to bad songs?
Oh my gosh.
They tell them to me all the time.
Right? Well, I mean, and they're going to see them on TikTok for sure. They're going to hear them on TikTok.
Exactly.
There is a phone that you can get, and I have it posted on my personal page. I'll try and find it. I saw it on TikTok, actually, ironically. But it is for kids who are young, and their parents want them to have a smartphone for connectivity so that they can text family members and friends and things like that. But the entire platform, it's a Samsung A20 or whatever what is. It's one of the lower powered phones.
My nephew, Markel, has that. My sister's son, my nephew has that. He can only talk to us.
Yeah.
He can text us, text his grandfather, talk to his mom. He'll call me on occasion.
Yeah, and you can get certain apps that you can download from their specific store.
Right.
But you can't get to a web browser or anything like that. Like, it's designed for that. So it's a great option.
He can only do like YouTube Kids.
Yeah. All YouTube Kids can be kind of
something like that. Yeah, although I've heard YouTube Kids can be sketchy. But it's important. I mean, it reminds me, I remember when I first started teaching, or right before I started teaching, they had the Disney Go phone.
Yeah.
Disney Go phone, basically, it was only the numbers that were programmed into the phone, and that was it. The kid could not add. And then they started, in the last couple of years, had this watch. That they could only call their parents. I had a couple students who had that. They could only talk to their parents. It wasn't connected to a phone. Like, it was just the watch. They could talk to their parents or whoever was programmed in it, but it would only have up to 7 numbers. And I understand we live in a different day and age and all of that, but it's the monitoring for me that I feel like some parents, I'm not judging parents. I don't know what it's like to raise a child in this generation.
I can't imagine.
I can't even imagine. But some of the ones I have had experiences with, not you who are listening or watching, some of the ones I've had experiences with, they are not monitoring effectively. Right. I guess would be the best word. Because, I mean, like yesterday or the day before, not Wednesday, so Tuesday, this little boy, he and his sister were getting into it. And he was like, she just told me I get on her effing nerves and I need to leave her the F alone. And that I was a piece of S. She's only a 4th grader. He's in the 3rd grade. And I said, did you say that to your brother? And she took a deep breath and was like, yeah. I said, and you said it in front of people to your brother. Yeah, but he's so annoying. I didn't ask that question. That's not what I asked you. I said, did you do that? She was like, yeah. I said, do you understand 2 things? 1, that's your brother. Nobody should ever see you, whether he's annoying you or not, see you disrespect him. And nobody should ever see him disrespect you. Because at the end of the day, you're family and you need to be able to protect each other. I said, you just opened the door for other people to talk about your brother in front of you, and they think it's going to be okay. I said, the other thing is your language. Why are you cussing like that? He was just really getting on my nerves. I said, at the end of the day, you who have legs, walk away so he does not keep annoying you. Unfortunately, the way summer camp is, you guys are in the same group. So I will work on getting you separated, but at the end of the day, you're together. If he's bothering you, go to a different table, go to a different part of the yard, go to a different area of the cafeteria. You do not get to just cuss him out like you some big grown person. I don't even cuss, and I'm a 40-year-old woman.
Right.
You are a young lady, and you need to act like it. And she was just like, wanted to use completely the excuse that she's cussing her brother out because he annoyed her.
Yeah.
That's learned behavior, though.
Ooh, you're not wrong.
When I said to her about the respect and disrespect part, she kind of just looked at me like, what? You're opening the door for somebody to disrespect your brother. And I said, if somebody disrespects him and cusses him out like you did, you can't get mad because they watched you do it. But he's my brother. If I do need to protect him, I'll protect him. No, you can't. You don't even like him half the time. So how nobody believes that. And if something happened to Robert, then you're going to have an issue and you're going to be mad. But then you're going to remember you cussed him out in front of your friends and you thought it was funny. And you shouldn't even be saying words like that. Like the F word at fourth grader. Like, but you'd be surprised how many times I've heard a fourth grader cuss somebody out like they've been grown person.
Oh yeah. Kids got mouths like sailors, man.
Complete sailors. Like sailors from 1952. Like not even like.
Right?
Not even 2021 sailors. Like they got. They. Back when sailors was still smoking and talking about women like they was crazy. That's how these kids talk. And I just be like, I don't want to do this another year sometime.
I know. We gotta we pray.
I know somebody's probably thinking, but you're making a difference. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I used to believe that. I don't even feel that no more because half the time they're not listening to a word I'm saying.
Well, it's hard because the biggest influence in a kid's life is their family. Like we used to talk about it in church. Like we would have kids for an hour a week, maybe 2 hours a week. We can't undo the influence of the rest of that time.
The things that are going on at home.
So unless your family is stepping in and backing up your church, like parents with kids in church, we can't fix your kids. Like we're not.
I was a kid in church,
right? Like we can't fix your kids in the church if you're not doing the work at home. Like we're there to reinforce you.
Right.
We can't do it on our own. And it's like,
well, then you also have those instances where there were kids who have parents that didn't go to the church and they weren't. They would let their kids go to church, or they let the kids go to church with the grandparents, but then they go back home to a traumatic situation or to a not great situation. So I do sympathize because I know, like, this particular child, she and her brother, they do not live with their biological mother. They are being raised by a mother, but it's not their mother. And I overheard them say, well, because one of them said, because it's 3 siblings, one was like, well, when we lived with our mom, we could do this, and this. And I was like, well, who do you live with? And so the brother goes, our mom. I was like, but she said, when you live with your mom, he was like, oh, she means our biological mom. We don't live with her. And their biological dad is around, but I don't know who. I think it's maybe the grandmother that they live with. And it's just, I understand and I do feel for them. But at the end of the day, we got to stop allowing, yes, our environments raise these kids, and their environment raised them more than the actual people in the environment. But when the person that's living with them in the environment is not telling them that they should listen to the people that are also helping them, because no matter how you slice it, the teachers in your kids' schools and the people at church, they're helping you raise your children. That is what a village is.
Right, exactly.
I have a student who's on a new medication. We have been keeping in touch with his parents, letting them know how he's reacting at school, how he's feeling, how it's making him feel, so that eventually, if it gets to the point where they have to adjust his medication, they can do that because we are working together. We are a part of the village, regardless of whether that's the concept you understand. We are all a part of the village. Everybody that your child comes in contact with is a part of your village. Church, school, whatever. They're a part of your village. But if parts of the village are not communicating or not believing the other parts of the village, then the kid can't be completely helped as best they can.
Right.
I respect the parents who are like, no, you're helping me raise him. Tell me what they're doing so we can talk, so we can communicate. I love those parents. The parents where I tell them that their kid is doing something, okay, I'm going to talk to him. And then your kid comes back and acts the exact same way the next day. You're not talking to him. You're acting, or you know better than that, blah, 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 blah. You're being big and bad in front of us at school. You don't do that with them at home because they tell it. They tell it.
Right.
Oh, my mom not going to do nothing.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how we got to we completely digressed on a whole digression episode because this has definitely been a digression episode. We did not particularly, we have topics that we have planned. It was just nothing was striking us as far as one of our topics for today. So we kind of just went into just, enjoying the conversation. I don't know how we got deep into how people raise their kids. And I understand it may not be great coming from 2 people who do not have children, but please understand we have worked with children all of our lives. I told somebody, my coworker yesterday, when he asked about the different things, he was like, oh, so you've only been at Loyola for 7 years. Yeah, but I have been working with children for 20.
Yeah. At least.
Plus.
Yeah.
And he looked at me like, really? I'm like, yeah. Just as I've only been with this program for 7 years, I've been working with children pretty much my whole life.
Yeah. It's good times.
Good times. Anyway, so that's over. Talk to your kids. Know who they really are. Hey, put a Ring camera so you can, in their room, so you can see what they really doing and saying. Like, do something, because I promise you, you do not know your children as well as you think you do.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, we all did sneaky stuff when we were kids. Like, that's what kids do.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to find boundaries. And the thing is, it's easier to break boundaries now.
Generation is just like, right. It's just, I feel like this generation is just completely like, not worse. I don't want to call them worse. It's just, it's different. Their level of understanding, their level of respect, their level of, it's wonderful to be independent, but you still have to be, respectful.
Right. I will say that has been
one of the things I say to my kids all the time. I respect you if you respect me. If you don't respect me,
it's a two-way street.
There's no guarantee that I'm going to be respectful to you in how I handle a situation.
Right.
Period.
I think it's been one of the things that's been interesting out here, like moving from California to Georgia. There have been a lot of culture shifts, a lot of culture. Like, we're not sure if this is like, we're not sure if it's, we were talking about some stuff. We're like, is this like past trauma talking? Is this weird personality red flag thing talking? Or is this like culture difference? Like, do we just not understand how things are done out here kind of talking? Mm-hmm. And, but one of the things that is,
it could be a combination of the
all
three.
of the above, right? But one of the things that's like really cool is to see like the genuine village raising kids. And it's like, in California, it's like, don't you talk to my kid that way. And it's like, out here, it's like, oh no, please, when my kid is acting a fool, please correct them. Like, there is definitely that sense of everybody is responsible.
See, and that's how I grew up. I don't understand.
Everybody had carte blanche to tell me to knock it off,
Yeah. Now, granted, there's some people who that happened and they had some traumatic experiences with that type, but that was because there were people who that their parents trusted or that they trusted didn't live up to, their thing. And so those are the exception. But, these kids, you can't say nothing to them now. Like, out here, at least. Or at my school. I won't even say just in California, but most children I know these days, outside of kids from church, because at church it's still that way. Like, you listen to everybody, and everybody has the right to, But these kids, today, pray for this generation. That's what I'll say to them. Amen. Pray, because they're exposed to a lot too. They're exposed to things that we weren't exposed to, and they're smart, and they know how to communicate well. Some of them. They're creative. They ask questions, and those are all good things. There's just a way to do it.
For sure. Those
are all wonderful things. I have one little girl. I was like, can you please stop trying to be my boss?
Trying to tell you how to do your job.
And she looked at me like, she was like, I'm not. I said, but you're literally trying to tell me how to teach my class. She's 7, by the way.
We call that leadership development.
She's genuine. And I'm like, I said, you're so smart. And it's leadership development. But I had to tell her, I'm like, there are times where you need to listen instead of telling me what to do. I said, because you're going to get the answer if you keep listening. And she was like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, oh, but you are all the time. And she's coming to my school next year. I don't know. I may work the first few months of school and God be like, okay, now we're done. Like, we don't know.
Just follow where he leads. Right?
Yes. I just know in September that I will be in Georgia and we will be working on presenting on September 24th, the Crafted Women's Conference. It is going to be so amazing. We have some amazing speakers. One about mental health. One about feeling good in your fashion and clothes. She's a stylist. We have my mom, who's going to be, I actually don't know what her topic is because we kind of gave her carte blanche. I don't remember. No, I think we gave her a topic. I just don't remember what it is right now. We have Autumn.
We are finalizing a lot of details.
Ministry. We're finalizing some things, but when I tell you, I'm excited and it's going to be so good. So be looking out for some information, and we'll have a website up and everything else. Crafted. It's going to be awesome. We are made in his image, and that is just a sneak little peek of what we'll be talking about, and I'm excited about it. So I'll be in Georgia for sure, and I'll have that time off from those kids. That was the whole reason I said that.
Well, and for those of you listening and watching, Crafted is going to be a virtual conference. So Joy's coming out to Savannah just to kind of help facilitate some things, but the conference itself will be virtual, so it will be wherever you are. We know travel is expensive right now, so we know that trying to get to a conference,
it will be wherever you are
is a must. So this is going to be virtual.
Yeah. And we kind of went back and forth. Yeah. We weren't sure because originally it was always going to be a virtual conference, but then as things were opening up, and I was at a book fair and selling the books and talking to people, and I mentioned that we were doing a conference, and one lady was like, you should do it in person. So we considered it, but I just think that after some prayer and some thought, we were like, let's keep it virtual this year. I'm believing God that there will be many people joining in, and we'll be your conference host, and we're also speaking as well, and we'll be able to answer some questions live for you if you have any questions or comments, even for the speakers that you will see. They'll be able to answer your questions as well. And if you also like what you see when you tune in and you register for the conference, we are willing to. It's easier for the two of us to travel than it is for most of you to travel. We will come to you if you want to do something like that in your ministry. And we have several topics, not just the topics that we'll be having that weekend, but we will definitely come to you, come to your ministry, come to your organization, whatever it is that you are a part of. Just hit us up and let us know.
For sure. And if you've got questions about anything we talked about, or you have an opinion about something we have talked about, if you want to defend small hooligan kids to us, feel free to do that. You can do that at joyandjess.com.
Yes.
And you don't have to defend them that much. We love them. We say this from a place of love, by the way.
We do.
We love small humans. We just want to throw them sometimes, which if any of y'all parents are honest,
I just want to throw them sometimes.
You do too.
You do too.
But no, we love small humans and we want the best for them. That's why we gently and with love and compassion suggest some alternatives.
Absolutely.
But you can let us know if you disagree at joyandjess.com. You can let us know if you agree.
For
and
sure.
Let us know what your favorite scene from the movie Matilda is. Speaking of kids, like random kids. You can do that at
if you have any dating tips, send those in, because we talked about dating.
We are still taking applications for the role of Joy's suitor. You can send them to podcast@joyandjess.com, and I will be reading through all of the matches, and I will curate a list for Joy.
Jessica's doing the official screening beforehand.
No, we're gonna make sure that so she doesn't have to 86 any of these unsuitable gents. But you can send it to me and I will take care of it for her and be like, no, yes,
absolutely,
marry him. That's what.
Right.
So that's podcast at joyandjess.com. And then our Instagram is We Digress with Joy_Jess. Lots of ways to get in touch with us.
Yes, contact us. Yeah, lots of ways. We're available. Right. Hit us up.
We're available.
Anytime.
Joy's extra available.
Yes.
That's true.
That I am.
She's a catch, guys. Not just in her personal.
That's very nice.
She's a catch. She's beautiful for sure. She's smart.
Thanks.
She's funny. She's talented, and she's a darn fine cook. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's one thing we're definitely going to do when I come visit. We're going to cook together.
We haven't cooked together in a long time.
We have been we might record it. We'll see. I may get one of those. Set up a little camera and watch us cook together.
And if y'all want to pray that my house is done by then, that way we'll have some, space to cook. That would be great.
That is the prayer. That would be nice if the house is done by then. Otherwise, we are going to be live from Jessica's condo and apartment, and that's all. Hey, it's lovely no matter what. But it's going to be a great time, and tune in to the rest of the season. We have some pretty nice things coming up and things to share, and you
never know what we're going to say next. Have a good one, y'all.
You never know what we're going to talk about next. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on the web at joyandjess.com. That's JoyandJess.com. We'll see you next week.